I think to make this intro, I just need one single screenshot that you can see right now, because that shows how completely broken this strategy is. As I became economic hegemon, unlocked the Suez Channel, and have 50,000 ducats in my treasury right now, all of that in 1460. And the best part is that you can do exactly the same thing as any nation in the entire world. Man, if that's not a hook for a video, I don't know what is. But anyways, I'm the student and I present the Bank of Egypt. And here we are, just a few months earlier than what you just saw in the intro. And it is really, in my opinion, the easiest to show you that just before that trick actually starts, because even though it takes a little bit of setup, so just a few buildings basically, I think it's just easier to show it to you once it's done. And also, I don't think you want to see another Aragon start. If you're interested in that, check out my video for the perfect, efficient Aragon start. But anyways, as you can literally do that as any nation in the entire world, it literally doesn't matter. All you need to do is get to Egypt. That's why I called it the Bank of Egypt, and literally everyone can do that then after that. So that is why I don't want to explain a lot about Aragon, my Aragon start and so on. Let's just get right into the actual trick. Now you see the Mamluks have a very specific set of missions that allows them to create the Suez Channel. Now most people already know that if you play Venice, for example, you can exploit that by making the Suez Channel be built and then canceling it for 20,000 ducats, right? Trust me, this is 10 times better what I'm going to show you. Now the Mamluks' mission to build the Suez Channel is super easy to complete for a player. The AI basically never does that because the AI is basically very bad in completing missions. So that's why you have to complete these two missions that it takes for the Mamluks for them. And that is why I own these 4 provinces in the Egypt region. Because all that the Mamluks need to complete the 2 missions for the Suez Channel is that they need to own all 3 provinces in the Delta state and have a marketplace in each of these provinces, as I did for them already, as you can see right here. Then they also need to own the province of Shakia, that is the one next by that I owned over here. They need this province to be developed at least 10 times. You're going to notice I've only 9 yet because I will get one for free in a second. You're going to see what I'll be doing with that. So you just need to dev that up 10 times so that it says has been improved 10 times over there. Now on top of that, all you have to do is to build 5 buildings and to have no available building slot open after that. So you can see I have exactly 5 building slots open right now, which fits perfectly with the 20 development for this province. So if you have expanded infrastructure, then you have to revoke that, because otherwise they will have too many building slots open. But anyways, that is all that it requires you to build 5 buildings and have no open building slot anymore. Of course, I'm doing it kind of in a speed run over here, but if you just wait like a few more years, right? For example, as you can see, 6 more years, I can unlock barracks and build barracks in there. Now, if you want to do it that early, as I did in 1460, then you have to, of course, rush to Tech 6 Diplo to build the dock building that you can see over there, as well as the coastal defense and church and marketplace. And now comes the interesting part that Aragon has, which is that they can build a shipyard in their capital with this mission. And that's exactly what I'm going to do, but keep in mind that's just if you want to do it that early, okay? If you want to do it 6 years later, you can literally do it without any missions, without anything, okay? So let me just do that real quick. I'm just going to move the capital to that province of Shakir, and then click that mission to create a shipyard in that province, as well as you can see one base production increase, which now means that all the requirements are fulfilled, 10 times developed, as well as 5 buildings and no available building slot. Now, of course, the Mamluks have to own this province, so I have to move my capital back now and return the provinces to the Mamluks, which I can do very, very easily just with this button over here. So let me just do that real quick and return all of these 4 provinces to the Mamluks. So now the Mamluks have all the things in their hands to complete the mission. By the way, one more thing, I wouldn't recommend doing this building thing with a 4 because the AI is very likely to delete that 4 once they receive the province, so just do it with normal buildings, okay? No 4s. What I was going to say is that they can now complete the 2 missions that they need to build up the Suez Channel. What I found is a very interesting thing, that every single nation has a very specific date on when they click their missions, and these dates are always 15 days apart. So in case of the Mamluks, if a mission is available, they will always click that mission on the 4th of a month or on the 19th of a month. And that is exactly why I paused on the 4th, because you can see now they will trigger the first mission on the 19th of May and the second mission on the 4th of June. I know that for the Mamluks because I checked that out before in a non-Iron Man game, right? You can do that for literally any nation. Any nation has scripted dates on when they click the missions, if they are controlled by AI, of course. Now they already clicked the first mission, which is the Delta mission, and now on the 4th, they will be able to click the second mission, which is the important one. So let me just pause 1 day before that. And now comes the important part of the trick, okay? Now, to that point, you just made it possible that the Mamluks can build the Suez Channel, although you have to have one more thing in mind for that, which I'm going to tell you in a second. But the question is, how are you going to make money? And the answer to that is war reparations. You can see that I'm right now receiving war reparations from the Mamluks until the 28th of March the next year, okay? Now, what war reparations do is they give you 10% of the income from the nation that gives you that war reps. But what most people don't know is that you also get 10% of every event that gives them money. So you don't lose money if they have like an event that gives them negative 1,000 ducats. You don't lose money, but if they get an event that gives them plus 1,000 ducats, then you get 100 ducats of that in the next month. And the interesting part is that the Mamluks mission for the Suez Channel triggers a very specific event. I'm going to show you that on the screen right now. And this event, what this event does in the hidden background of this event is, as soon as you click that event, you will gain 20,000 ducats and immediately spend that 20,000 ducats on the Suez Channel. What that means for our situation is that the Mamluks got an event that gives them 20,000 ducats. And that means that we will get 10% of that in the next month, which is 2,000 ducats. Now that, of course, alone will, of course, do the trick for the money. You're going to see that in a second. But if you also want to have the Suez Channel built, which obviously you want because it's a very strategically important monument, right? Then you have to keep in mind that the inflation of the Mamluks plays a big part of that. Because even though they get 20,000 ducats in the event, they might need to spend more than 20,000 ducats on the Suez Channel based on their inflation. Typically, the AI will have around 2% inflation, which means that they will typically have to spend 20,400 ducats on the Suez Channel. So you can, of course, check in the country tab or if you search for the Mamluks, how much money they have in their treasury. And you need them to have the relevant money in their treasury to buy the additional money from the inflation, okay? Which means that in this case, they need to have more than 400 ducats in their treasury to actually start the construction of the Suez Channel. That's why I stopped one day before they click the mission, because then they won't have any time to spend the money on other ridiculous things. So I can just send them, for example, just to be sure, like 800 ducats, okay? They might pay off their debt before, but they have just one loan, I checked that. So this should theoretically be fine, and you're going to see that once I unpause for a day. So now they will have clicked the mission, okay, by this day. And you can see that they still have 800 ducats in their treasury, which means that the Suez Channel has started to be constructed right now. And you can see that by going onto the province and opening the buildings menu. And if you can see this building over here, this great project, then that means that it has started to be constructed. So yeah, that's it basically. Now, from now on, in 10 years, the Suez Channel will be finished. So by 1470. Now we get back to the money situation, because as I said, in the next month, I will gain 10% of their 20,000 ducats that they received. And yeah, let me just show you that real quick where that shows up. Now you can see I haven't received these 2,000 ducats yet. I will receive them in the next month, because on this month they show up on my income tab, which basically means that on this month right now I have an income of 2,026 ducats. And there we go, you can see I just received these exact 2,000 ducats that I was mentioning, and that means that now if I go to the income tab, I have a confirmed income of 2,026 ducats, which of course means that I can claim the economic hegemony, where you need only 1,000 ducats monthly income. Of course, if you want to do that, you have to be a great power for that. So if you want to start, for example, as Austria and do that, you should try to be a great power before you do that trick, because otherwise you can't become a economic hegemon. But anyways, I can now literally become an economic hegemon in 1460. I promised you that I will get 50,000 ducats from that trick, and I only received 2,000 for now. But the interesting part is that not only the hegemony counts that income as my actual income, but also the sale of titles. And you can see right now I would receive 21,000 ducats for sale of titles, but that is only because I have such a high crown land. I of course became a peasant republic, disabling the nobility estate. If you have lower crown land, then you receive way more income from the sale of titles. So let me just demonstrate that real quick. I will switch to an oligarchy, re-enabling the nobility estate, and now I'm just going to sabotage my crown land basically by giving out the primacy of the nobility over and over again, as well as I'll probably give out like the land rights, for example, and over here the land rights as well. And I can also pay off my debt now and give out another burgher privilege that costs me crown land. And now you can see that I have only 15% crown land, that this will literally give me 51,000 ducats if I sell titles now. And that's of course exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just going to sell titles. Now I can of course seize land whenever I want. It doesn't really matter. But I have now 50,000 ducats in my treasury. I am the economic hegemon, which, let me just tell you, it won't tick up, of course, but you get the base modifiers, which is 0.1 monthly war exhaustion reduction, 100% mercenary manpower, which fits really well with your 50,000 ducats, so you can basically hire mercenaries and rush every 4 and so on, right? As well as negative 5% development cost modifier, not the normal development cost modifier. And a really underrated modifier is that each hegemon, just for being the hegemon, already gives you 25 permanent power projection, which is an insane boost to your morale, trade power, if you get low on that, also to your mana duration and so on. So it's literally a permanent 25 power projection modifier. And as I said, on top of that, you also get to use the Suez Channel in the 15th century. And I think if you now consider that you could do that literally as Denmark, as England, as the Netherlands, even as Lithuania or something, you can literally do that as any nation in the world. I think this is a totally broken mechanic, but I think also a very cool one. Let me know in the comments what you would do with that amount of money and economic hegemony. And we're going to see, as always, on another Monday.